What is going on YouTube? This is Wi-Fi Willie, and this is the Raiders Rundown. We're going to go through some of the latest news and updates, and damn, shit is already going down with Nate Hobbs. I'm going to get right into it. Let me just let you know the agenda for today. Going to talk about Nate Hobbs speeding today. Rapoport was talking about the relationship between Harbaugh and the Raiders and has some new insight on it, and I'll let you guys know about that in a little bit. It was on the Pat McAfee show. And we're going to get to a little bit of member questions and also talk about some news around the NFL with some former Raiders characters that I think you might be very interested in. So let's just get right into this. This is by 8 News Now. This is a local Las Vegas news station. Just reported today. Driving at 110 miles per hour, Las Vegas Raider Nate Hobbs was cited for driving 110 miles per hour on the 215 Beltway less than 2 weeks after being arrested for a DUI. So that's what's kind of unfortunate to me. You just got disciplined with the DUI. We know what happened with Henry Ruggs. By the way, let me just say, Nate Hobbs has not been officially charged with the DUI, so I actually don't like that they say that he's being arrested for a DUI, because to be honest, he has a court date in April. We don't really know if it's going to be considered a DUI. His lawyers say that they don't think what happened to him when he fell asleep in his car in a parking lot, his lawyers believe that does not constitute a DUI. So it is kind of unfair just to slap it in these headlines and say, oh, he's got a DUI. I'm not going to say that, right? So he's got a court date for potentially reckless driving, DUI. But in this situation, 110 miles per hour in a 65 miles per hour zone, this is happening just after Henry Ruggs had his situation mid-year, just after you got in trouble for being asleep in your car, allegedly. It just seems like Nate Hobbs is not learning his lesson. And think about how bad that would have been. When Nate Hobbs fell asleep in his car, I believe he did the right thing. He was trying to stay safe. But at the same time, this was right before the key matchup that would determine whether or not we are going to get into the playoffs. So that was just very unfortunate. Right after we beat the Colts, boom, you fall asleep in the car. And then look, off season is happening, so you're going to see, in my opinion, a lot of players kind of be a little loose with the law. I think the discipline and everything is going to happen now that we go into the off season. So expect more stories like this. And I think it's understandable. Look, you're basically not working. You have at least 2 weeks off, maybe even a little longer, since the NFLPA has limits on how much you could practice. So a lot of these people are just kind of live by their own rules, right? And so I think that's why you see Nate Hobbs going at 100 miles per hour. But hopefully he doesn't continue this behavior and end up being a liability, because this guy was named by ESPN as one of the top graded rookies. And PFF had named Nate Hobbs the highest graded cornerback that's a rookie, right? So he beat out so many people despite the fact that he was drafted in the 5th round. So I hope Nate Hobbs gets it together, and I think he can. So this is what I'm going to say about the Rapoport talk on Harbaugh and the Raiders. Rapoport was on the Pat McAfee show, and you could see a link to this if you look at Pat McAfee's Twitter. But this is what Rap Sheet said. This is what Rapoport said. He says, I believe Jim Harbaugh would be interested in an NFL job. I know the Raiders have some interest, but they haven't engaged at all. And this is very interesting, because even myself included have been talking about how Harbaugh seems like the logical choice for the Raiders. He wants to return to the NFL. He has said that. Some people think that maybe he is trying to encourage rumors about him seeking a job in the NFL just to have Michigan renegotiate his contract and allow him to get more money. However, I disagree with that. I think at the end of the day, if you are a coach and you got that ego where you want to be the best, and be like Harbaugh, where he went to 3 NFC championships in a row in his first 3 years as coach of the Niners. I think he wants to try to leave his mark. I think he wants to win a Super Bowl just like his brother John Harbaugh. So he definitely at some point, I believe, wants to return to the NFL. And why not now when you just won College Coach of the Year according to PFF? It's a great time. $4 million a year at Michigan. Yeah, you could leverage that for some more money if you start some rumors about being potentially an NFL coach, but it's never going to be as high as NFL. It's never going to be John Gruden, $10 million a year money, right? And this is interesting though that Rapport is saying this. Raiders haven't engaged with Harbaugh, so they're doing some interviews, but from what he knows, they haven't talked to him. Now, look, in my opinion, I don't trust these beat reporters entirely. I think there's a bunch of behind-the-scenes stuff that we don't even know about in the NFL. People are always talking, communicating with each other, trying to do trades, trying to hire people. And I think, yeah, Harbaugh and Mark Davis haven't met officially. They haven't had an official interview, but who knows? Maybe they're talking through telephone, through other people's. That's how this NFL crap works, man. It's a lot of behind the scenes stuff, and we find out last. Us, the audience, the viewers, we find out about everything last. Always remember that. It's straight up facts. Hey, let's get into some more stuff, though. Where are you from, Raider Nation? Raider Nation is worldwide. I lived in the Bay Area for several years. That's why I got this shirt. You can't read it too well. But Raider Nation, straight out of Oakland, California. To be honest, though, I lived in Richmond, California for like 10 years. So not quite Oakland. But still, I liked Richmond. Beautiful place. Let me know where you guys are from. I want to know where you're at. Raider Nation is worldwide. And I love the comments I've been getting lately. Just people telling me where they're from, and I just get shocked. It's a lot of California, but it's a lot of places all over the world, Australia included, places you would have never thought there'd be Raider Nation representing, and that's awesome to see. And another thing, dude, man, consider becoming a member. Become a member of this channel. It's a good way to support us, and we do a lot of member questions, and it's very convenient, too, and it helps me out, and if you really enjoy this content, supporting and becoming a member is the best way to allow me to create more content and go full-time, so... Shout out to this news, though. Chicago Bears have completed an interview with Reggie Mckenzie, former GM of the Raiders. So, interesting to see. Reggie Mckenzie infamously traded Khalil Mack with John Gruden to the Bears for multiple first-round picks. And who knows? Maybe he could do the same thing here. Maybe he'll trade Mack if he becomes the Bears GM. Either way, he's going to reunite with Khalil Mack, and that'll be really interesting to see. But just interesting to see where some former Raiders are lining up. And did the Raiders, I want you guys to tell me, did the Raiders make the right call letting go of Reggie Mckenzie now that we've let go of Mike Mayock? So Mike Mayock, even though I thought Mike Mayock did some good things, his drafts weren't too terrible, still, did we crap the bed? Did we make a mistake letting go of Mckenzie? If we would have had Mckenzie this whole time, would the Raiders be better off? I don't know, but let me know what you guys think about that. Another thing, too, Gruden. Hey, look, I love doing Gruden news. I'm sorry, bro. You can hate me for that. That's just what it is. But Ian Rapoport is reporting that the Panthers are interviewing former Washington head coach Jay Gruden, little bro of John Gruden. And the sources say this is an in-person interview. It's a second one with Matt Rule. And Gruden has been offensive coordinator with the Bengals and most recently the Jaguars. So, hey, maybe we could see Jay Gruden in the NFL as offensive coordinator. What was really funny is there's an interview with Jay Gruden that happened, I believe it was a month ago, and it was about the Washington football team, and he said something which I thought was pretty funny. You guys let me know. He said they shouldn't have changed the name, and there's nothing wrong with the Redskins, and it's lame that they changed the name. But I just think it's crazy that he just said that, right? I mean, it's funny to see people be so candid, but of course it's going to be a Gruden who does that. So we'll see what happens. Maybe he ends up playing for the Panthers, and who knows? Does that open the doorway for John Gruden to return to the NFL? Jay Gruden has had some drama. There's that video of him smoking a J, hanging out with some chicks, and people gave him a hard time for that, just like they gave Urban Meyer a hard time for grinding on a chick. But, it caused some problems for him, and then you wondered, is he going to be in the NFL? Then you see how the NFL has treated John Gruden with the hit job. So you think they would actually have that same kind of relationship or antagonism towards Jay Gruden if they cancel John Gruden. But Jay Gruden is still interviewing for jobs. We know Deuce Gruden still currently employed for the Raiders for their strength and conditioning. So who knows? Maybe John could come back if his brother is still employed as well or seeking employment. Didn't want to forget this. Member questions. I haven't had a lot loaded up, but one thing that's cool about becoming a member is you could send in questions on my members-only community post, and then I'll bring it up. I'll bring up interesting ones, and this is a great one, and I'm going to have some more on Monday. So if you already submitted some questions, I'm still looking through them, and I kind of did this video a little last second because of the Nate Hobbs story. I had to get that out there. So if the Raiders move him, this is talking about Derek Carr, who is realistically replacing Derek Carr? And that's an interesting question because I personally think Derek Carr's the guy. He's a franchise QB. He's a top 10 QB in the NFL, but he's not freaking Kyler Murray. He's not Lamar Jackson. He's not going to juke everybody when you have a crack BO line, and he's not going to run for 100 yards a game. And I feel like that's why a lot of people get frustrated with Derek Carr, but why don't people get frustrated with Tom Brady? Like Tom Brady is not doing what a Kyler Murray does, what a Lamar Jackson does, what a Russell Wilson does, what a Joe Burrow does. Tom Brady doesn't do any of that. He has a dope O-line, dope defense, and AB was his third string receiver this year. So I think if Derek Carr has that, and people get triggered when I say this, I think he could do even better than Tom Brady. I'm at least at this point in their career. Tom Brady at 40, Derek Carr at 30. I think if he had what Brady had, yes, he'd be dope. Now, hate me. Let me know if you agree or disagree with that in the comments. And you know what? Wi-Fi Willie does not mind some haterade. He does not mind some haterade. Hey, but let me tell you something, though. Realistic alternatives for Derek Carr, I don't think there really are many, and he is still on a $19 million deal. Yes, maybe you can inquire with Justin Fields and the Bears and see if you can get something out of him. You already know Reggie Mckenzie, and he might be their GM. Maybe you hit him up. But I don't think that's likely going to happen. They're not going to just move their first-round pick. And when you look at the free agent class for quarterbacks, I mean, who really would you want? Maybe Russell Wilson through a trade can get out of Seattle. He didn't look good last year, and he does not look healthy, and he's 3 years older than Derek Carr. So I don't know necessarily if I'd want Russell Wilson. As far as free agents, Mariota is really one of the few that I think even seems appealing in this quarterback class. Maybe you can try to get Gardner Minshew. I don't know. And none of the rookies have really stood out to me. Some people make a stink about Willis, but honestly, I don't think there are many options for the Raiders. I think if we get a new head coach, someone who's not Rich Bisaccia, perhaps they do just keep Carr for this year as a bridge QB and maybe draft someone later and coach him up. But I think Carr is considered an asset. I think a lot of coaches who would be interested in coaching the Raiders like the fact that Derek Carr is already there, no matter what Raider Nation thinks. And I wish there were great free agent alternatives for Derek Carr, but there really is not at this point. So we'll see what happens, but I think Derek Carr is going to be here to stay in Las Vegas. So hope you enjoyed this content. Like this video if you watched it all the way through, and remember to subscribe. Hopefully Nate Hobbs gets it together. No more speeding tickets, but hey, people are going to be a little loose in the off season, and that's okay. Hey, my name is Wi-Fi Willie. Peace out and have a good one.
Yes, sir. Reading you loud and clear. The clock has started.